Hey guys, Cindy over paper.old.new. Thanks for coming in and spending some time with me today. God bless you for being here. We are looking at making from my fabric mess. And as you can see, I have all kinds of little scrappy things out here. I have been piecing together those scraps, those scrappy clusters. I love these. I love them so much. Probably my absolute favorite way to use fabric scraps. Now, I did these in a mass make video. One of Tina's mass makes is these. So that's where this came from. And like I said, loved it. Cannot tell you how much I loved this. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to piece together some scraps of, I get to use buttons too, guys. And you know me and buttons. So anything that lets me use buttons in a cute way, I'm all in. But what we're going to do is we're going to put we're going to put a couple together just so you get the idea of how I go about the randomness of this. And then I have several up here off camera. You might be able to see this one right here. These are ones that I was piecing together off camera on my own to kind of speed this process up because I still have to sew them together. And that's what takes a while for me. We're going to have to see how that goes because I'm hoping that it won't be too bad and that maybe I'll have some stuff to chat with you about while I'm sewing because, yeah, it's going to be a thing. So, yeah, so we're just going to get into this. I might have to grab some lace scraps as we go because it's the one thing I don't have out here is lace scraps. And I do like to put at least one piece of lace in there. And I see at least two, this one and at least one other one that I want to do. These two I love together. So we're going to have to make a cluster out of this. And probably some more. I have these pieces here that I pulled off that I love the lavender, and I've got this lavender gingham, and look, I've even got purple lace. I mean, tell me that's not going to be cute. So I've got a few little scraps of lace here and there. Might want some more, like here's a piece. I might want some more, like, I don't have anything that's like old looking, like, you know, it's got color to it from being old. Aged. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. All right. I'm going to use one of these on this gingham. And I have this piece of burgundy lace, which was the reason I grabbed these pieces of fabric. So, I mean, you do something like that. And quick as that, it's together. And maybe you decide that this is big enough that you might want a third piece of fabric on here. In which case, I can go fumbling around in here looking for... wrong colors. Oh, I got some more green though. Let's try a piece of this. And this was that piece that was all stitched. So let me see if I can tear a piece off this end. And we'll have this kind of scrappy to go right there, sort of. And then over the top. And quick as that, you've got a little cluster. And maybe you don't like it layered quite so. Maybe you'd rather have it more, what do you call it? Less parallel. Kind of like we like no straight lines, no parallel pieces. Okay, here I have a little burgundy button. That would be good. What other colors do I want to pull out of there? I have my wooden buttons down because I have all these ones with these kind of kaleidoscope mandala type designs on them, and I haven't used them on anything. I would love to find places to use them, but they're harder. So it's got to be with more, like, I don't want to say muted, but more or less like simple pattern stuff. So like I put together some simple patterns, and then those mandala buttons would be my decoration, is what I would probably go for with those. Because they're so cute. Look at them. Aren't they cute? I have a ton of them. I haven't used any of them. That's why I'm doing this project, by the way, because I have a ton of stuff sitting around not being used. And I know you're guilty too. So I'm not the only one. I might actually want a wooden button of sorts in here, though, just to go with the kind of... I pulled one of those out already, but I don't think it'll... No, that's not the right color green. Okay, I have some in here that have... I mean, I could use black. The flowers are outlined in kind of a black color, but I don't know if I want to... There's a piece of me that's telling me to just dump this out on my table. It'll make it easier. But then I'll have to clean it up before I can do anything. I would... Yeah, I have several of these green ones. Here's the blue. No. I used to have some with some like yellow on them. But I can't seem to find it. That is way too bright. Oh, I have this. Look at that. That's kind of cute. I don't know if I like that on there. I like that on there. I know you can't see where I threw that, but all will be revealed. And I know that this is your favorite whenever I get a project that requires me to go through all my buttons. So you get to just sit and watch me dig for buttons. It's like your favorite, isn't it? I know it is. Secretly, you love it. What about that one? Now, that one happened to be printed off kilter. So, just to add to the off kilterness of this whole project. And maybe I sew it up here away from all the... Put the burgundy button on this side. And the green is the green. I mean, it's going to have to go where it goes. I've gotten to the point where I like to try and do 3. But if I take this off... See, now when we stitch, the stitching is what holds everything together. So if my buttons are way over here, they're not going to catch this lace. That's my only problem. So I have to move them like this so I could at least go through the lace at least once. Because once you glue it down, obviously, as long as you catch everything, once you glue it down, it's not going anywhere. And if you wanted, you can like throw some glue up underneath some of the layers when you get it glued down to a project or whatever. I'm going to leave that there. I think it's funny that these are printed. They're obviously printed with, and your buttons don't all have to be together either. I think I have a couple where I take the button and I stick like one button off by itself. Like that. I don't know that it's the button being close by that's bothering me. I think it's the size. Like I need a big button. Okay, I'm gonna stop messing around with that. What I should do is grab... I know it's the first one and I'm taking forever. I have some decent sized wooden buttons that are just wooden. Like that. Now see, I would put that one down there just because I like the flowers and I don't want to cover them up. And if I bring it up here by this, unless I stick it up in the corner. Okay, now comes the hard part. And the part you guys are going to all go, oh no. We're going to sew. Okay, I'm going to be using embroidery floss. Cross-stitching floss, embroidery floss, anything like that. So, you could also use baker's twine. So the next thing I would do is I would look at all of this and I would say, do I want to brighten it up some and maybe use something like this? Or maybe not quite so bright and use something like that. Oh, I think I'm going to use that. And basically we're just going to thread a needle and start sewing if I don't tie a knot in my floss. All right, I'm going to move my bowl. Get it out of my way. I need as few obstacles as possible because, can I just tell you, sewing, not my strong suit. I do all kinds of things to cheat. Okay. I'll put this back in the floss bucket. And we're going to thread this needle. Okay. I like to, and you guys can, I actually like to, I don't like getting glue on my fingers anymore because I've learned to not, although I usually come out of a crafting session with something on my fingers. I like to glue the ends. And I do this a lot on, like if I'm putting baker's twine in buttons or I'm using baker's twine to tie something onto a project or something like that, and it's got, guys, and it's got a free end, I will a lot of times take a little bit of my Fabri-Tac and smush the end of the whatever I'm using in the Fabri-Tac so that it stays together. And it makes kind of a hardened end, almost like the end of a shoestring. Okay, now I'm going to come up. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here and we're going to tie a small knot. And I always use my fabric to tie my knots because my knots end up being stacked rather than, like if I double knot something, a lot of times when I go to try and hit the same spot again, it will stack another knot further up the thread. And I'm sure there's a way to avoid that, but like I said, a seamstress, I am not. Okay, so there's that. Now that I've done that, we're going to lay this piece of fabric back on here. If I can remember how I had it, because it wasn't something like that, maybe. I don't remember. That's not good. Like that, I think. Okay. And we're going to bring the thread through the layers. Okay. And I'm going to put on the button. I mean, they're time consuming. Don't get me wrong, especially for somebody like me who can't sew. But they're so cute. Okay, and then you can decide how many times you want to go through each button. I'm using embroidery floss, so technically that's 6 pieces of thread through there. I mean, that button's on. It's not going anywhere. But a lot of times I will try and come back up again one more time. Now, the secret to this is hitting your buttonhole again. I'm always amazed when I'm able to do it. Okay, and then I'll go back down through. And that one's on. So voila, first button. Okay, now I'm going to come up. See, where do I want this button? I think I wanted it out here, kind of on the green. So I'm going to come up right here on the edge so that I get this top, very top piece of fabric again. Okay, and I'm going to put the button right there like that. Now, this is a 4-hole button. So this time I'm probably going to just do one thread in this direction, and then I'll bring another thread up through the other direction, just so that the little crisscross in the button is part of my decoration, so to speak. So these are all options you have, obviously. Also have a tendency to do the minimum amount of thread on some of the buttons, because the other thing you can do, of course, is bring the threads up through the other way, like take it down in and bring it back up through and then tie yourself a bow. So one of your buttons might have a bow in it, which I could very easily see myself doing for this big wooden one. Now, I am not going to cut my thread. I am just going to come back up through here. Let's do it this way. Seems to be the best. I'm just going to come back up through here and put my other button on. I am not going to cut my thread. I will say this, you've just got fabric between here now. So if I pull this too tight, it'll bunch the whole thing up. So obviously you don't want to pull it. Just keep it flat, and I'm not necessarily looking for tight. I'm just looking for hold. I don't really care how tight it is. Now for this one, the button is a little bigger and heavier, so I might double up on my stitches for this one. The bow would be a separate thing. It would be done after I cut this off, and we might come back and do bows in a few of them, or one of them, just depends on how much time this takes me. I'm actually hitting my buttonholes, which the first time I did this, that was not happening. I seem to remember struggling with hitting the buttonholes. Okay, now, I will say, because the back threads are loose, you do have a tendency to get in my way. But other than that, have I already been over that one twice? Oh, why does that look so thick? I don't know. Anyway, all right. Uh-oh. Okay, and down. All right. And that's it, guys. That's one done. Is that not adorable? I cannot tell you how much I was so thrilled to have found this little craft. I think I threaded through my thread. Okay, again, I'm going to use what I've got as help for tying my knot. So it seems to have been cross-threaded right there. So I'm going to tie the knot in that cross thread. I think. It doesn't seem to like that. But we're going to do it again anyway. I just need it to hold. Again, these will more than likely get glued down to some project, and there will be glue all over the back of this. So I am not at all worried about I'm not worried about how it looks on the back. I'm not worried about how loose it is on the back. I don't care. And you know me, guys, I am very into things not falling apart. None of that is going anywhere. And then when I glue it down, I just make sure that all of this gets hit with glue and all those knots will stay. Because when I do this, I'll do it with hot glue. Isn't that cute? I love that. I'm so excited. Guys, it's little things like this. You know, in the crafting world, it's little things that get us excited. I'm going to take the orange out of here because I'm probably not going to use it. Now, it's got a glued end, so I'm going to hold on to it. Who knows? I might use it in a different one. I don't know that I will use that. I told you I wanted to do this one. You also don't have to, I mean, they can be the same size. You can do something like that. Now, the question for you, if you do something like that, is where do you put your lace? Because usually my lace is, and I don't know how big you would want to make these. But I mean, if they get big, you have to decide what you're going to use them on, which, again, not a big deal, but, oh, guys, look, a button. I've already found a button. It's kind of cracked and old looking. I like it. Okay, so I'm going to put it maybe there. Give me 1 second. Sorry. I wanted some. Now, for these ones that look a little, yes, I got some bright pink just in case. For these ones that look a little more like this, maybe my piece of fabric that's in between these can be lace and it can be bigger. So, and I might even stitch an extra piece on top. You can use crocheted fabrics in these because you don't have to worry about like I guess the bulk. I mean, it can be part of the project. So let's pull that off of there. I'm going to kind of put it like that. And then we had this on here like this. Yeah. Actually, we had it over a little bit because I think I had. Maybe. All right, I like where this is going so far. Okay, and then I was going to maybe add this. Trying to figure out this piece. I'll turn it over and hide it. How about that? Now the other button. Here's my little buttons. I'm debating on one of these really big ones. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I like it. I wonder if it would benefit from me going like that. Yeah. Okay, now I got to decide on a. See, and for this one, I might actually, in between all these flowers, instead of being outlined in black, they're outlined in brown. And I might actually lean into that and grab brown thread. I'm also debating on whether or not to grab another, like a dark brown button out of here. For some contrast. I don't necessarily like the way it fits, is the problem. I need, you know what? Now that I'm messing with this, I want this smaller. But I don't think I have any smaller. The only option I would have would be to sew one of these upside down. So I would put that on there and sew it on upside down, and that's too small. I need this size. But this isn't the right color. I don't like that one there as much. I mean, I don't hate it. I just don't like it as much. All right, guys, we're going to go with it. We're going to go big. And this one has plenty big holes, so I can definitely put a bow through there. Or, you know what you could do? Oh, I have a thought. Okay. For in the decorating phase. You guys are like, great. Well, look at it this way. If I have a thought, then maybe decorating won't take as long. We might actually be able to accomplish something. Okay. Put this through here. When I put it through, it wants to stick a little bit because the glue, I don't let it totally dry. Good Lord, we'd be here all day. Okay. So let's start with our knot. We'll get it through here. Oh, did I not cut it free? I didn't cut it free. Well, put it on this side of the fabric anyway. Oh, did I do this all the way out there? No. What the heck? Okay. There we go. All right. Let me tie this and then we'll stitch. And we're off to the races. Now I just have to remember how I have this one here. I'm going to come right up through the edge of here. Put my button down on there. I don't think that's where I had it, but it's where it is now. So has anybody tried these? Maybe all of you do these, and it's just like I was behind in my knowledge of cool ephemera crafting. It also might be that I'm behind in my ability to stitch, so that's also a possibility. Okay, now where am I putting this one? Right about there, yeah. Let's come up right here. I leave enough room for the button. Now these two buttons are kind of overlapping. By overlapping, I mean when this sits down, the brown button sits on top of the blue button. I don't hate that. And because I'm sewing them, it'll hold like that. Okay, this is another small button with 4 holes. So we're going to do the crisscross thing. This back end is coming up through just the lace. There's no fabric. I can feel it when I go through fabric, and then I can feel it when I only go through the lace. Okay. All right. And that is on there. Now we're going to put this on. Okay, and this was going to go cattywampus down at this little joining of the fabrics. Now this one's definitely going to get doubled. I think I do it too because I was testing camera spots. I think I do it too because okay, the first one is always the hardest. So I'm going to do it by like this. Is that going to be high enough? Oh my goodness. Because these buttons are bigger and I want to make sure that they hold, would be one of the reasons that I double up down, on the bigger buttons. Now this one, like I said, this one has plenty of room for me to come back through here with some baker's twine. So we might be doing that. But I also had another thought, and we'll have to see when we get to the decorating phase. I probably will not sew all of the ones I have up top ready to go. I probably won't sew them all with you, but I at least want to show them to you so you can see what kinds of crazy. Did I go through that one 3 times and this one not at all? I don't think I went through this one again. So let's go. Yeah, because I love these. I love them so much. I think they're great. Okay, and then I'm going to go through my stitch to tie my knot. And then I will go back through my stitch and tie my knot again. If I can get the fabric out of the way. I came in over the loop, so I think. Nope. There we go. Uh-oh. Okay, let me cut it off. We have another one done. Oh my gosh, guys. And just because, like, if you're holding it in your hand and it, like mine has that little pucker there, when I lay it down and glue it, all that kind of comes out. That's also there because there's like a crocheted lace behind that fabric. But, I mean, what's not to love? Okay. I'm going to show you, I had all these other ones here, and Lord only knows I love these enough that I would sit here after I'm done and you guys are gone. I would sit here and make more of these. I have like this. I want to put this rose on this one with a little bit. Hey, that pink lace I brought out might go on here. So I've got that. I told you about the gingham, so I have, what happened to here, all my little scrappy bits. So I've got this, and I would cut a piece of this. And yeah, I usually do them like cattywampus. I'm actually gonna kind of roughly cut out this flower so that I get the whole flower. And then maybe I could put this flower on here like that. You got a little flower sticking off the end. And then if that wasn't like enough, you didn't like the way that was supported, you could always stick it on a piece of, well, I've got more of this, so I could stick it on, I could put a piece of this background, like the little flowers from this same fabric, in the background back here. Like that. And then I add buttons. I'm going to keep that one, guys. It's going to go right here, and I'm going to put buttons on it because we went through all that work. Yes, that's the reason I'm doing it. I love this. Okay, I'm going to slide these down so you can see them. And then, so I put this one together. All right. See, and you can add little embroidered flowers when you're decorating. So as an embellishment, I might add that flower. And I would probably use pink thread on this. And this is a stalk button. I think this stalk button will work because the stalk is kind of flat. Some of the stalks get really high, and I don't think they would work. They might. It depends on how tight into the fabric you can get them to go. I could use pink, or I could use bright green because there's not a lot of green in this, so I might use the green one. I don't know what's going on here, but I've got so this might get green thread. So I'm going to set this off to the side, and I'll stitch it when we're done, after I let you go. Okay, and then I did this one. I don't know if this one will stay as it is or not. I feel like, at the very least, I'm going to move that. I don't know about this blue button. It's mimicking this little blue flower right here, and I wanted to kind of bring that up because the red is so prominent, but I don't know. Or maybe I just need, and I was covering up this orange flower. Could cover up the orange flower with the blue button. And then I could get this button off onto some contrasting fabric or something. I don't know. Anyway, I'd have to play with this one. But this is what I've got so far on this one, and I do like it. I don't know about this blue button. I might have to change that out. I might have to lean more into the reds or find something pink. I know. I just said I wasn't going to do this, and I'm doing it. That's a very pale pink. I don't like that. Okay. So I might go get a red button to go on there. So we have that one. Oh, and I would probably use red thread. Just because I think that would, assuming I have, you know what? I was just looking at my floss container. I have like this burgundy, which, I guess would be okay. But I don't know that I actually have red. Like a fire engine candy apple red. Don't want to lose my needle in the pile over here. I did pull out some colors previously, so I have these. I also pulled out some black, so this one might end up getting black thread. And then if I do it right, I can do a baker's twine bow on that one, and I do have red and white baker's twine. Now, moving all of this stuff back out of the way, because I just had it out of my way, let's slide these other ones down here. So I have this one. This one's a little bit bigger. Ever since I pulled these fabrics out of the bin, this lime green, gray, and navy blue fabric, I did the book page pockets. I did one with these two fabrics together. Love them as a pair. I was thinking about swapping out. I found this button. I was thinking about swapping that guy out and putting this little flower shaped button on here. Maybe separating them and getting, I don't know if I have any smaller gray buttons, but getting a smaller button to go with this blue one, maybe right up here or down here away from the flower. I could even move the flower up this way. So as you can see, these are still a work in progress, but I found this one and it's gray. So I wanted to add it to go with that gray. And then I do not have any lime green or navy blue thread. So this, I don't know what color thread this is going to get. I have silver. Maybe it'll get silver thread, just for fun. So I don't know what color thread that's going to get. Then I have this one that I put together that's trapped under my floss tin and going to come apart if I'm not careful. I think all the buttons moved. Then I have this one that I put together, which I really like. As you can see, this is a scrap of that. We also used this on the book page pockets, this background fabric here. Love this. This has 3 fabrics and a lace and 3 buttons. So, I mean, go crazy. As far as thread goes, I think I was going to use like something like this, muted green on there. So that one's pretty much ready to go. I'm going to pull this one over the side. It might be the next one I sew after I let you guys go. Okay, and then I have this one, which also has, I don't know why that's there, which also has, or I should say not also, but which has that pink lace I just pulled out and threw over there, right here. This is a little one. They can also be small. I like that just the way it is. Won't add anything else to it probably. Maybe an embroidered flower. I mean, you can stick one of these on here. Like when I stick it down in the book, maybe one of those goes on there. Stick it down or on the envelope or the pocket or whatever I stick it on. Okay, so that one's going to go over there. Oh, that one would probably get this thread to tie in those roses. So that one's going to be simple. Not going to add anything to that one. And then I have this one. Now this one, I like the lace. I like the fabric. I like the buttons. I don't know if I'll use all of them, but I like them. I'll probably spread them out some. Needs another piece of fabric, and I don't know what I'm going to use yet. So this one is a work in progress as well. So I've got a couple work in progress ones here. And then I have these scraps from something I was making, and I really wanted to see if I could do an X like that and then stick this in the middle of it. Nope, don't like that. If I do that, stick that in the middle like that. Now, if I cut that edge, and if you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, you can grab the ends. You can usually fray. Like if you didn't tear it, you can fray it anyway. Although this fabric's weird. I don't know that that's fraying. This fabric is very odd. There it goes. A little bit. So anyway, you can fray the fabric. Put that on there like that. Like that. Sorry, I know I said I wasn't going to do another one, but I saw this and I wanted to. Okay, and I've got this big red button. And then I probably should use a white button because I got a lot of blue on here. I mean, there's a lot of red too, but I've covered up a lot of the red, so biggest button box I've got. On my white button. That's a clear button. That needs to go in a different thing. I've got this one that's got rope texture. No, something a little smaller. Could do that one. Maybe down there. Okay, and look how quick that came together. So, and these pieces, so I've got some more of these. These are pieces of, you can see the glue. This is a piece of ribbon that I was using as trim, and under either end of the ribbon, I had glued lace so that it stuck out on both sides. And it was too long for what I was putting it on, so I cut it off. So these are pieces that I can turn into, I mean, you can, anything, guys, anything. And then for this one, I would probably, I would want to use red, but I don't have red. Maybe I might actually lean into this. Sorry about my arm. This really bright blue. Okay, so there's another one ready to be sewn. Oh, and here's a little little. Is that black or navy blue? I can't tell. When I put it up against there, it looks black. Okay, that one off to the side. Now, just real quick, these ones are going to go off over here, and I'll probably sit and watch some TV and glue these. I mean, stitch these. All right. These are the two we did. Now, the question is, do I want to add any embellishments to them? And the answer is possibly. Hang on a second. Okay. Now, in here, I have some of my, like these are lace bows and ribbon bows, and these are little ribbon like that. I don't know what you call these. I always call them breast cancer ribbons because that's what I say. Cancer ribbons. That's what I associate them with. These ones have things decorating the centers, and these ones don't. Okay, so you can always pull down stuff like this. And my thought was the middle of that bow. I mean, the middle of that button. And how cute is that? Okay, so I don't know about putting a bow on that one, only because the bows I have completed don't really go with this. The only one you might be able to argue could go with it is this one, because of the orange in these flowers. And it doesn't not go, but it doesn't go well enough that I would glue that on there. So that's a no. I think all of the orange ones are that. Oh, look, I put a little button on that one. I told you guys, buttons. It's my weakness. Here's a little brown bow. I put a brown bow on it. I mean, the bows are a cute ad. Look at that. The bows are an adorable ad. Okay, but let's do the... Okay. This is Dollar Tree Baker's twine. And the reason I got the Dollar Tree Baker twine down is because, first of all, I've already put something in this bow. And this is probably, I mean, in this button, and this is probably where I'm going to tie the bow. And second, and this baker's twine from Dollar Tree is much thinner than some of the other baker's twine I've got. That's the end over there. Okay, so I'm going to pull off a piece. I'm going to cut off a piece of this with my dull scissors. And I'm going to put it through this needle just so that I can get it into the button. And then I know during the stitching I was going to talk to you guys and I forgot about, we're going to be going through, you remember not too long ago I had some video woes. Remember I had problems with some of my videos. the pixelating and the, all those problems. Okay, well, my latest problem, and I don't know if you've noticed, you may have noticed it, because I know if I was watching a video, I would notice it. When I'm not talking, you can't hear any of my crafting noises anymore. Did any of you notice that? Like in between talking, you can't hear like paper crinkling or cutting, or you can't even hear my scissors click down on my table. If I'm not talking, those sounds all go away, because the program I'm using, I think, has noise canceling software, which, for a lot of things is great. But for me, I don't want my videos to go dead quiet when I'm not talking. I mean, first of all, we all love the sound of crinkling paper, so I definitely don't want that to go away. All right, now I'm going to pull these down to the size I want them. Sorry, I know, I got quiet. Sorry. I am trying to get this where I want it. And then normally what I do is put a little bit of glue on the knot so that it doesn't go anywhere. But I usually put it inside the knot, and I didn't do that this time. So I'm going to try putting it under here and under here. I just don't want the knot. The knot is supposed to be permanent, so I don't want it to come out. All right, and there, guys, is my little... And then you can cut those off as short as you want them. But, I mean, isn't that cute? So those are my two thoughts. I could glue this button into middle here. My hot glue gun's not on, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But you could put that on there, or you could get some more baker's twine and glue it through there. Now, I can use thicker baker's twine on this button because those holes are huge. But I'm not going to keep you any longer. We did one. We sewed two. I showed you all the other combinations that I did and how I'm going to put them together. Guys, I really hope you like this project as much as I do. I love the way these goes together, and it's probably my favorite. I do these better than... I like the way these turn out when I do them better than I like paper clusters when I do them, which is hysterical to me because the process isn't really all that much different. I mean, you're just sticking stuff down in a random fashion and making it work. I think what I like about this is all the texture. And I think when I'm gluing pieces of paper on top of each other, there's no change in texture. There's change in pattern, but not a lot of change in texture. So, I mean, once you get a cluster made and you can start adding embellishments to it, I like it better. But anyway, all right, guys, this was another Making with My Fabric mess. I hope you guys liked this one. Get out your fabric scraps and give these a try. They are a ton of fun, and they are awesome embellishments for pockets that you're looking at and you cannot figure out what to put on. Pull out one of these that has matching colors or a matching theme or, fits close enough, and stick it on a pocket, and voila, you're done. I love them. And they add texture to your book too. So while you're adding embellishment, you're also adding texture, something tactile to feel and, be a little bit different in your journal. So enjoy making these. Come back and see me again later. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.